Hey, what is going on? So I am working on my boxy bags. This is a bulk order, 17 boxy bags for a bridal party. So I've actually gone and marked my center point on each bag, well, the lining or the outer fabric. Now I'm going and marking my center point for where I'm going to be putting my tag. And so normally when I do a boxy bag with embroidery on the outside, I put my tag on the inside. Whenever I'm doing just a plain boxy bag without any embroidery customization, then I'm putting my label on the outside. So this little guide here just helps me make sure I have that placement where I want it to be. And so like you can see here on this piece here, so I have this red dot here because I'm going to embroider in this area right here. This is where I'm going to put the embroidery. Normally this would be where I would put my label if I'm not doing any embroidery, and then I'm going to put my label. I want it to be on the opposite side, so when they open the bag with the embroidery to the front, my tag is going to be on that opposite side. So that is why I'm putting one here at the top and then the other here at the bottom. So, and then while these are embroidering, I already have everything digitized, already on my Bai Mirror, ready to go. So while these are stitching out, I'm actually gonna stitch together my handles and then my tabs. So that way then I can just, once all the bags are embroidered, then I can just go into full on sewing mode, and I'm just gonna sew in batches. So yeah, so that is what I am doing today, so I can get these bags finished by tomorrow and then shipped out by Monday, which is actually ahead of schedule. So better early than late. The customer actually asked if I could, she would be able to get them by the middle of the month. I'm like, oh, you're gonna get them before then, because I don't like sitting on orders. I like to get them out, done and out. And this guide, normally I use it for my labels, but I used it for marking my center space for the where my center point is for embroidery, but as well as my label, because it fits in here perfect. So if I have it like this, I can lay it down and then I'll know, okay, this is where I want to sew my label. Normally I'll just pin my label in place, but since it's so many bags, I am just marking it and then I'll line it up once I get to the sewing machine. And I will be using the Bai Mirror for my embroidery. I'll be using my Juki, my Baby, my TL 2010Q for the sewing portion. I also have, these are the zippers that I'll be using. So the gold, well, brass zippers, black and brass. And they have like the little donut hole for the zipper pull. And I'm not using my zipper tape, only because I didn't have enough, but I had enough of the single zippers. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make it do what it do. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and I will be right back momentarily once I start embroidering and sewing. Now this won't be a step-by-step tutorial at all. It's just kind of going to show you the process that I use when I'm doing orders in batches, just because it saves so much time than trying to do one bag at a time and then assembling that bag and then going on to the next bag and doing the same thing. I batch sew, so I'm going to sew all my zippers across one end at once, and then I'm going to connect the other piece and sew the zipper onto the other end, and then I'm going to go ahead and close my ends and all that stuff. So everything's going to be in a batch so I can get these done. And I got some more fabric in, so I'm gonna have some more prints, some spring and summer prints that I'm gonna be uploading soon to my site. And I cannot wait. But I've been so busy because I had to digitize 17 different phrases for these bags. So I just kind of been consumed with that, and then I sent everything over to the customer for approval. Once she gave me her blessing, then I'm like, all right, let's get to it. And even then, I already had the bags cut down. I had everything ready to go. I just needed her okay for the embroidery for the sayings that'll be going on the bags. But yeah, so I will be back shortly and show you the next step in the process, which is the embroidery and how I'm gonna hoop everything up. So this is the last bag that I'm having to stitch out. I am almost finished. I only have a few bags left to sew together, and then I get everything packaged up and shipped out, so they'll be received actually ahead of time, which is always a good thing. But I'm gonna head back over to the sewing machine so I can knock the rest of these bags out. All right, so some of y'all wanted to see how I use my acrylic template and how I sew the bag together. I do have another tutorial showing you how to make a boxy bag a different way, but this way I'm gonna show you. It's not gonna be too detailed because I gotta get this bag done, so this will be really quick, but I'll show you the steps that I take to sew the bag together. So first off, I do already have my two pieces together, my lining and my outer fabric. And I have, let me just get this. So I have my zipper, I have my lining fabric. Let me just unclip this, it'll be easier that way. So I have my outer fabric, my zipper teeth facing the lining fabric, and then I'm gonna lay that down, and then I have my lining fabric. And let me just get that all lined back up and clipped together. And you wanna make sure that it is lined up and even. You don't wanna sew it crooked or don't catch some when you're sewing. All right, so that is that part. And let me just get situated here. Okay, so I'm just gonna sew the fabric to the zipper. I am not using a zipper foot. This is the foot that I use with my seam gauge. It is a narrow foot, so I don't have to switch it out and use my zipper foot. So I just keep this foot on. I haven't had any issues. This is bag number 17 of 17, and I have stitched all of them just like this. The only thing is right here at the end where the zipper stop is, I kind of have to pull it through because I need to do my back stitch right here. So I just start, then I'm gonna back stitch, then I'm gonna hold the tail here so I can get it off of that little stop right there, right here. And now I'm just gonna let it ride. And I am filling the zipper. That is why I keep my finger on here, because I want to make sure that one, I don't hit the zipper, and two, that I'm catching all of my fabric. And then I'm gonna move that clip. And back stitch, so back stitch at both ends. All right, and now I'm gonna turn it right side out. And I am not going to press. I'm just gonna do a finger press so I can get my seams together. So I just kind of pull and make sure all my fabric is together. especially that lining fabric. And this is where you want to check your seams and make sure that you've stitched everything in together, because if you need to, then you could go back and correct that at this point. So I'm gonna just do a finger press. You can also put some clips on each side if that'll help you just hold everything in place. I'm gonna just flip this over and then do my top stitch for this piece. And I'm gonna back stitch when I start and stop. All right, and that looks good. And you know what? I probably need to change my bobbin, but I'll risk it. We'll see. I should be okay, but we'll see. And then now I'm going to, so I have the full piece here, have this half of it attached to the zipper. Now what I am going to show you is you're going to have to maneuver it, because I'm not using zipper tape, which is okay. You don't have to use zipper tape. I know a lot of people struggle with it. But you're going to have to kind of maneuver this because I'm just using a regular zipper. And I'll show you that when we get to that step, how I maneuver so I'm able to top stitch once I put these pieces together. So now I'm going to take just the outer piece and bring it up, not the bottom piece. I'm not going to do that yet, and I will show you why. I can, but I'll show you how, if you don't want to do your boxy bag with French seams, how you would do sew the lining fabric so you can have an opening and flip it out, and then you can just sew everything together, flip it out, and then sew your seam on the inside of the lining or inside of the bag. All right, and so I'm gonna just go ahead and get this on here. All right, and then I'm just gonna double check my bag, my seams, make sure I caught everything. That looks good. Now, this is our outer piece, and then we have our lining. So now I'm going to flip it so I can put my label on. Now I have this marked here, but I also have this little guide here. So either if I don't have it marked, then I'll just use this guide and I can line it up and put my label in there. Just hold it, remove that like that. But I do have it marked. So let me just peel my sticker off. Make sure that is straight. And I'm just going to do a stitch on both sides. I don't do a full stitch all the way around. And I am going to back stitch at the top and bottom. And then go over to the other side, and I am going to kind of hold that in place and kind of pull it just a little bit. I'm not pulling my fabric, just the label. And I keep forgetting I don't even need to use this here. I keep grabbing for it, just habit, I guess. All right. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and clip these threads. Okay, there we go. Okay, and so now I have the outer fabric that's already sewn to the zipper. Now I'm gonna take the lining fabric and we're gonna attach it to the top of the zipper. And you want to make sure you have it lined up, and I'll show you in just a sec. And let you know why it is very important that you have it lined up evenly. Okay, so let me turn it this way. So you want to make sure you have your ends lined up on both sides. That way you won't have any issues. You don't want to have it like off uneven like this. You're going to have issues when you go to box your corners. So just make sure that you have this lined up. You want that flush on both sides. And now I'm going to take my lining side. And that's the other thing. If you don't want to do a French seam like I do on my bags, and again, I show you how to do that in a previous tutorial that I did, you'll want to sew down maybe right about here, leave this gap open or leave a nice size gap, and then pick up right here. So you'll sew a little bit, stop, and you want to make sure you back stitch and then leave a gap and then start sewing again, back stitch, and finish out. So that is how you would leave an opening in this bag using this method as far as making a boxy bag. So you can, if you don't want to do the French seams and you just want to sew all your corners together, flip your bag inside out and then sew the lining together at the bottom. All right, let's, uh-oh, my thread came out. Hold on. And I thought it did, but I wasn't sure. So I'm gonna just snip that and I hope I can get it in here. Now, one thing about this machine, I can never get the needle threader thing to work. So let's hope for the best. Let me move my light down so I can see. And if it's taking me too long, I'll probably pause and come back. Yeah, I probably will pause and come back. And I just had it in and it came right back out. Oh, I got it. Never mind, I don't have to pause. Okay, there we go. Back in the game. So let me make sure this is all lined up. All right, good to go. Now I'm gonna let this back down. Remember, forward stitch, back stitch. Okay, and cut this tail off. And now we're going to top stitch this, and this is going to be where I show you how to maneuver the bag to top stitch it. That's why I like when I use this way of making my boxy bags. I prefer to use zipper tape, but I didn't have enough, so I had to do what I had to do. And you can see it's already like looking like a bag. Like I'm steps ahead from how I would normally, or the other way I make boxy bags. So that's why I like it doing it this way. I'm just kind of getting everything together. And so you see it's kind of already starting to look like a bag. And so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna go down, finger press. I'm also checking my seams, making sure I didn't miss anything. And everything is looking good so far. All right. And then just kind of lay it down and just finger press. Now, I'm going to take the bag and I'm going to turn it inside out. And let me cut this tail off here. Now, if you want to, you could put some clips or a pin right here just to hold that together. And down here at the end is where we're going to have to maneuver the bag to so we don't break a needle. So, and I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Depending on where you stitch your fabric onto the zipper is where you want to top stitch. I normally do mine's really close to the edge. But you can decide how you want to do your top stitch. Forward stitch, back stitch, and then I can feel that the fabric is together. I don't feel any bulges, so I'll just kind of do that all the way down. Okay, and that is coming up where we're going to have to maneuver this. So I'm gonna move my bag, kind of hold it, but then I want to flip this piece out because I don't want it to hit the zipper pull. And so I'm gonna hold that out the way. Make sure that is out the way. And then I'm gonna just slow down when I get down to that end, back stitch, and we are done. And yes, I do need a fill. So I know I'm zoomed in and you probably saw that, but these are my real nails. So, but yeah, just had to throw that out there. So now, gonna double check everything. I like to do my checks over and over as I'm making the bag, because if you need to restitch something, you still can do it without having to pull out the seam ripper and waste time. Okay, so now the bag is looking like this. Lining fabric, outer fabric. So now I'm going to take it and we're going to turn it inside out. And add our tabs. Add our tabs, stitch everything closed, and then box the corners. Okay, so now I'm gonna just get this all lined up. Okay, so now bag is inside out. This is the outer fabric, this is the lining fabric. Oh, where's my tabs? Here we go. Yeah, let me just snip these couple of threads. Okay, so I'm going to take one piece and I'm going to clip it back out the way. And then this lining piece, I'm just going to fold this in. So you just have these two pieces that are attached to the zipper. And so, actually, I'm going to fold it in half. This is my tab. I'm going to just fold it in half with the raw edges. Whoops. So the raw edges here, the folded in here. And I'm just going to line it up with the edge of the bag. And I'm just doing a basting stitch. You don't have to back stitch or anything for this. We're just going to do a straight stitch right across. Now, when I get to the zipper, I use the wheel because I've already broke one needle and I'm not breaking any more. And if you have to lift it up and kind of move it and go over it, you can. This will be secure because as we sew everything together. So if you need to hop over the zipper teeth, you can. Just get like the ends. And so that is how your tab should look. Now, the other side, this is very, 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 very important. So if you don't take nothing else away from this video, take this. Just looking for, okay, just making sure those were some loose threads and not, okay. So I take a wonder clip. I'm gonna take the ends of the zipper. I'm just gonna clip those together. You have to open your zipper. Usually if I'm using zipper tape, my zipper pull is somewhere in my bag already. But because I'm not, then I'm just going to unzip that some. If you don't do this part and you leave your zipper zipped, you're gonna zip your bag closed. So make sure that you take time at this step and unzip your zipper if you're using a regular zipper, and put your tab down, line it up with the end of the bag, and we're going to do a basting stitch on this as well. And again, I go right up to those teeth because we do not want to break, well, I don't want to break another needle. And I'm gonna just hop over that, take that clip off, cut my threads. And now I did sew this bottom together, that's completely fine, but I just wanted to show you that you can move that out the way or you can sew it together. Either way is fine. But I just noticed it is a little bit crooked, so I am going to seam rip this away from the lining fabric. Okay, and then let me just make sure I'm gonna have to redo that end. And I'm gonna fold this in. I've been knocking these bags out, and as soon as I start recording, boom, something happens. Okay, so I'm gonna do the basting stitch again. Stop when I get to that zipper, use my wheel. I'd rather take an extra 10 seconds and use the wheel than 10 minutes to change a broken needle and have to open up my machine and clean it out and all that stuff, because if the needle breaks, it's probably most likely going to drop down into the machine. All right, so now our corners are already boxed. If you do it the other way that I showed you on my other video, you would have to stop at this step and then you would want to box your corners. But we already have our corners boxed, so that's another thing that saves a lot of time. Okay, and so I have my outer fabric and I'm going to make sure that is all lined up, and then my lining fabric. So we're going to sandwich everything together. And then I'm going to get my Wonder clips. I'm just going to clip right on the edge. So we're going to have all our layers together. And turn it around, do the same thing on the other side. Make sure everything is even. If you see a little extra fabric on either side, that is okay. It should only be a little bit though, not a lot. And we're going to clip that. So you're going to have all this clipped together, your lining fabric and then your outer fabric. So everything is sandwiched together, and then we're just going to do a straight stitch, back stitch at both ends. And I'm doing about a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Now I'm just using the guide here on my machine. And yep, I'm gonna use my wheel. And yeah, that would have hit, that would have been all bad. So you're just gonna stitch straight across just like that. And then this is where you want to take another look. Make sure if you're using regular zipper that your zipper is open, that is not closed. So this is your second check, because you can still go back and seam rip and, you know, do get that zipper pull out the way. So I'm gonna line that up. Ooh, that would have been all bad. And that one too, so I'm gonna just slide it just a little bit. Okay, so now it should be, your bag should be looking at like this. The outer piece, the lining, and then you have both of these ends sewn together. And now I'm just gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut as close to this thread as I can. So I'm gonna cut all this off, cut my zipper, extra zipper off and all of that. And I'm gonna just do that right here over the garbage can. And you may have to maneuver over the zipper teeth. Okay, so this is how our bag is looking. Outer fabric, everything sewn together, lining fabric. And now I am going to double check make sure my zipper is open. Well, open it some more. I know it's open, but I'm gonna open it further. So I'm gonna just slide my hand in one of these corners. Just open it up. And you can pick any corner you want and just start birthing your bag. So you're just gonna start pushing your bag outside, or right side out. And you're kind of gonna have to push and pull and tug. And this is the part that I hate, because it's just annoying. But won't have to do it again. All right, so now we're going to put on our strap and box our corners. So now your bag should, well, you want to straighten it out, but should look like this. So it's coming along. It's coming along. And now I'm going to grab my handle right here. And I like to put my handles at the end where it closes. I don't put it at the opposite end, so I know it's going to close at this end, so I'm going to put my handle down here. And I'm just grabbing, making sure the lining fabric, and I'm just going to smooth it out. And then I'm going to clip it onto the end, and I'll give you a close-up. One sec. So like that. And so you want to make sure you have both your lining fabric and your outer fabric, and then your handle will be right on top. And then I'm just going to do also for this a basting stitch, because with the French seams this is going to get stitched 2 more times, so it's going to be very, very secure. And just do a stitch right across the edge here, and just making sure that you don't have that other piece of fabric, just those just the outer and the lining, one piece of the lining. And then just do a basting stitch. And same on the other side. And you're making sure that you move that fabric out the way. So it's just those 2 pieces. And just lining that up. And I'm just doing it right on the edge. All right, and we are good. Now our handle is attached. So now we're going to box our corners. And when you go to box your corners, you may notice, oh, there's extra fabric. Just trim that off. That is okay. Just trim that extra fabric off. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then just clip. I just put a clip on there. And you'll do that for every corner. You're just smoothing it out, making sure now you're going to have all pieces. So your outer fabric and your lining fabric all together. And I'm just going to take my scissors and just go straight across. All right. Go to the other side and do the same thing. And then again, just smooth everything out. And that's what I'm doing here, just making sure everything is good and smooth. And then I'm gonna cut that extra off. Clip that in place. And if y'all hear noise in the background, that's my husband in the kitchen warming up something in the microwave, so I do apologize. All right, and I am going to just stitch straight down, back stitch, add start and stop, and 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And we're going to do that to all 4 corners. Actually, this is the same process as how I showed you previously to make the boxy bag, so there's nothing different that I'm going to be doing here other than just doing my French seam. But I will show you again because I don't feel like getting up and stopping the camera. All right. And last corner. Just line that up. And when you're stitching down, just make sure that that handle doesn't get caught on your foot. Make sure that it does go underneath your foot. And now I'm gonna go ahead and trim these ends down same way I did earlier. And I'm just gonna trim it down as close as I can to my thread without cutting my thread. Cut your thread, you're definitely gonna have to restitch. And then we are going to do our French seams and we will be done. And I will be packing up this order and taking it to the post office or UPS. So this is how our bag is looking right now. Right now it looks like we have a bunch of raw edges, like the bag isn't finished or done correctly, but this is where the French seams come in, and I just love how the French seams look. So we're going to turn our bag inside out, and we want to check all of our seams and pop all of our corners out. So if you have a poker tool or if you use your scissors, be very careful because you could poke through your fabric. I'm just using my nails because they're sharp. And if you see any raw fabric, then you want to go back, turn your bag back right side, back out right side, and do another stitch. And so just poke all your corners out. All right, and now I'm gonna just make sure everything is nice and smooth. I see a little thread there. And so you want to just put the two sides together. You shouldn't see any, you don't want to see any raw fabric or the raw edges of the fabric coming out of there. And once you put this seam in, is there, I mean, of course you could seam rip it, but you just want to do quality checks pretty much after every seam when you're doing these bags. Because once you get so far, there is no going back. All right, and then we're gonna do the next corner, and I'm just double checking, making sure my corners are popped out. Everything looks good and everything is nice and smooth. And I have so much thread on the floor since I've been working on all these bags. Like, it's a lot of thread on the floor. A lot. And I'm just making sure that the handle is out the way. You don't want to stitch the handle together or to the seam. So make sure your handle is out the way. And we we have one more and this bag will be finished. So I think, I don't know how long that took, maybe like 20 minutes or so, but maybe 20, 25. But because I was explaining to it, once you get your flow and get the hang of it, you can knock these out really, really quick. We are done. And so, and this is what I mean when I was saying the handle is going to be very secure. I've had someone ask me before if I've had issues with my handle. I have not. With the bags that I've used, no customers have said they've had issues. So yeah. But look how many times we stitched over it, and then we stitched it again into this French seam. So this handle is not going anywhere. And so just turn everything right side out, pop all your corners out. I am gonna steam all these bags, even though I'm gonna flatten them out when I ship them, but you know, still wanna steam them and lint roll the inside. And just making sure my corners are out. All right, and this is the last of the bags for the bridal party. So I'm gonna show you a photo of all of them stacked up, and then I'm gonna package them up and get them out. So this is how your bag should look once you are finished. So you're gonna have your handle, your tabs on both sides. If you do any customization on there, you can. If not, don't have to. And then I'm sure you already saw, then my label is on the inside of the bag. So that is how I use my panel with my acrylic template to make my boxy bags. Same result, just faster in my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and steam these, but hopefully that helps to show you how I use that, just the two panels, the outer fabric and the lining fabric. So let me show you all the bags. All right, so here are all the bags that are done and ready for me to package up and ship out. And I could not be happier because, woo, this was a process, but I enjoyed it. Also, sewing is therapeutic for me. See, there's those, there's some, and then the last two. So this is all of them and I am done. So I'm going to steam them, lint roll the inside, package them up and go ahead and get them shipped out. But yeah, thanks so much for watching my vlog slash kind of tutorial slash boxy bag, bulk boxy bag video or vlog. So I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. If you have not already, make sure you hit that thumbs up as well as subscribe if you are not subscribed to my channel yet. But I will see you in the next one. Bye.